Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Yes, yes. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Oh, thank you, thank you. Hello, hello. Nice to meet you guys. Go. Zar, Juliana, go. Okay, we have two goes. Rishvita, Charis, Tansuchin, Yusuf, Abdul Hafiz. Hello. Welcome, everyone. Edwin, Zar, Farisha. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. All right, we'll be starting soon. Okay, as maybe everyone can introduce themselves. Like, is this your first time in like hearing about us, joining our event, or is this like your second time or a couple of times already? If it's your first time, you can probably like type in 1 in the chat, and then if this is not your first event, you can probably type in 2. Then I know like, okay, who am I talking to? And also, okay, Go said first, Juliana said first, Shweta said first, okay, Go said first, Zara first, okay. Hi, this is Abdul, first time joining, nice to meet you guys. So yeah, you feel free to turn on your cameras as well. So I'll be sharing for like almost an hour. So if you guys turn on the camera, I'll feel like I'm engaging and then it won't feel as lonely for me. All right, so first time, a lot of first timers in the event, in this info session. So basically, this is going to be an info session where I will be sharing you like in Sigmaschool. So Sigmaschool is the company that we are running like boot camps and how we actually help students to go from like no experience all the way to like landing jobs in tech. Right, so you guys will be learning, I would say, a bunch of insights and also learning like the roadmap that we actually take for students. Ooh, hello, Resh. Hello, hello. So today will be a little bit more sharing, research based kind of sharing. So not so much on like learning, coding and stuff, but you'll be basically taking home like our studies, our findings, and also some resources that we'll be able to provide you at the end. Right? Cool, cool, cool. All right. Maybe you guys can share as well, since you guys are in here. Like, how do you guys, how long have you guys been like aware of us? Or is this your first time hearing about us, like Sigmaschool? If you heard about us, you've been following us for months, maybe you can share like how long. If it's yesterday, you can type in yesterday as well. First time? Okay. First time too? Okay. So no one has ever heard of like Sigmaschool before. Zara also said first time. Okay. So we are like, okay, Resh said, I heard about yours since last year. Okay, nice. We have a veteran here, knows what we do, heard about us. Farisha says, just found out earlier this morning. Okay, nice. So very new, very new. Okay, don't worry, I will do like a quick introduction just to know, like, just so you guys understand like who we are, what we do. And then you guys will have a better picture of like how this session will be. And yeah, basically this session will give you like a whole insight of like what we do as not just as a company and how we are actually managed to take a bunch of students and seeing success in tech. Right? Cool. So if you guys have any questions, just feel free to type it in the chat. So regularly on and off, I'll like ask you guys questions and then you guys can just react with a thumbs up. So you guys have been doing great so far. So thank you, thank you. Hello, Daniel. Nice to meet you guys. All right, so we will be starting in 1 minute. If anyone has any question, don't worry. This session, we would also post it on YouTube. So in a case if you want like a refresher or anything like that, after this session also, you just feel free to reach out to us on WhatsApp if you have more. But hopefully this session I'll be able to cover everything and answer all of your questions. Right. Oh, we have a bunch more people coming in. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Hello. Hi, Aslan. Thanks. All right. Oh, we have a lot of people. So for those that just joined in, maybe you guys can type in the chat as well. Like, if this is your first time hearing about us, first time joining our event, or have you guys joined like a bunch of our events already? Because we usually do these kind of events, not just this kind of info session, but we also do like workshops. So free workshops that you can learn how to do programming. I can share more on that later. Cool. All right. So, okay, time is up. So let's start. Okay, so quick introduction. So this is basically, like I mentioned, for those that are previously in the call earlier, this is a info session by Sigmaschool. So I'm representing Sigmaschool. And this is how Sigmaschool is you'll be able to learn like how Sigmaschool is running our AI software engineering bootcamp. And I'll also be sharing the exact same playbook that we actually take our students to go from zero experience, no coding experience, no AI experience whatsoever, all the way to being job ready, landing jobs in tech in just 3 months, right? So my name is Emil Leong. I am the admissions lead here. So just to introduce, so who am I and why should you listen to me for the next 60 minutes, right? So we're talking about tech. Of course, I have to know a little bit more tech, right? So I've actually graduated with a bachelor's degree in robotics engineering. Then I was unfortunate enough, I couldn't find any like positions in robotics engineering, but fortunately, right before COVID, I landed my job as a software developer, right? I was basically learning code on the side while applying for jobs, and that's how I became a software developer. And I've been a software developer for the past 5 years. And now I'm part of Sigmaschool team as admissions and also partnerships, right? So that is basically my journey. So I would say I know a little bit about tech, or I would like to say that I know a lot of tech, right? So that's a little bit of me and who I am and why you should listen to me. So as a software developer myself, coming to Sigmaschool. So for those, I believe a lot of you guys are new here. So Sigmaschool is basically an education institute where we mainly cover bootcamps, coding bootcamps. So our goal is to help people learn real skills and build careers, right? So it's helping people get into tech even without any tech experience or no previous coding experience whatsoever, right? So Sigmaschool is the top bootcamp in Southeast Asia. So if you search us up, especially the niche of coding bootcamps, you definitely find us. And we are one of the top coding bootcamps. So we also have 50 and growing continuously every batch of graduates that finished the entire bootcamp and now are working in tech, right? We have over 98% of students rating us like 5 stars on course report. And also in Google, combined with course report, we have a total of like 4 point ratings of 4.87, which is 4.9 out of 5-star ratings. So these are actual real humans, real students that actually gone through our bootcamp and experience it. So they even in our internal feedback, our internal response, we asked them questions and they gave us their honest feedback. 90% of them, they have all students provided us around an average of 90% full satisfaction. So from the day they met us, from the day they started their bootcamp, learning the how we structure the classes, how we actually provide learning materials, even the career services after they receive that, they provided us, they mentioned around 90% of full satisfaction, right? So they're very happy. I would say right now we are also continuously growing our hiring partners. So we have now partnered with like over 50 top end enterprise hiring partners. Mainly these are to work with them into feeding their talent pipeline. So because we graduate students and we train students to become tech ready and tech savvy, to be job ready. So working with these hiring partners, they would actually go through our materials and they will also see the students that we provide, right? So like big names like Grab, OCBC Bank, CoinGecko, and so on. So we also been documenting our journey. So we are actually fairly new, I think around like 4 to 5 years. So we started around 2022, late 2022. So we've been documenting our journey, sharing our like mission and why we actually started Sigmaschool and BFM, Edge, Astro, and so on. So if you guys are interested, you can go and watch like the interviews that we've done. So now that's basically about us. Now let's go back to the topic of like AI software engineering and why you came into this call, right? So basically, I think everyone here probably have heard about AI, right? If you guys heard about AI, give me a thumbs up. I'll be very concerned if you have not heard about AI. So if you have not heard about AI, maybe you can raise it in the chat. Don't be shy. So, okay, Iva, Chin, Hamza, okay, everyone has heard about AI, right? I think even older generation, my grandparents probably heard about AI as well, and they probably used it as well, right? So I think everyone, AI is no stranger to everyone. So right now, especially if you're looking to like break into tech, or if you're looking at AI and wondering what is it, and if AI is like disrupting your work environment, your current job, or if you're actually someone that is also planning to like go into like the workforce, fresh grads, or even like thinking about changing your careers into like a tech field, I think you would probably know what AI is currently doing and how impactful AI is. So I would say for those that are not aware, I think this is something that you should actually pay attention to, right? Especially in the new job market, like trying to shift or trying to break into tech. Every company now is like slowly becoming a tech company. So as you can see, when you are actually, even if you're currently working, you would probably know this, being mediocre is not going to be enough, right? What do I mean by that? When we say being mediocre is not going to be enough, right? With the advancement of AI, what AI can actually do, it's actually impacting a lot of like even your current role as we speak, right? So if for those that you're currently working, I believe your boss or you've probably heard about your role having to integrate AI into any kind of role, sales, marketing, accounting, even doctors also have to learn about AI, right? So what we actually notice is that right now, having like knowledge in your specific field is not going to be enough because of AI. So first things first, it's always going back to the fundamentals, right? No matter where you are, whatever you're doing, right? It's always first having domain knowledge. So what I mean by domain knowledge. So for example, if you're in sales or marketing, or in this case, let's talk about software engineering. So if you are a software engineer or looking to be a software engineer, you need to have domain knowledge. So what I mean by domain knowledge is that you have to know code in order to be a software engineer, right? You cannot be a software engineer without knowing what code is. For example, you cannot be a doctor if you don't know anything about the human body, right? That is what we call domain knowledge, right? But that alone in itself, right now, especially in this era, is not going to be enough, right? Because of AI. So that's why the second thing that you actually need to have is AI intelligence, right? Artificial intelligence. So it's combining both your domain knowledge and artificial intelligence is what employees are actually looking for, and is what is actually the norm now, right? If you see all the new job posting, everyone is literally asking like, do you have first, of course, you have to have the skills for that specific role. Let's say if you're a software developer, you need to know how to write code, you need to know how to understand what code is, and you also need to have experience and know how to use AI, right? Now, the next thing is not just AI, but right now we are also seeing when you have domain knowledge, you have AI in your back pocket. It's also having that building critical thinking, which because how AI is actually advancing, being able to like solve so many different problems, making everything so much easier, having critical thinking is what a lot of people are actually lacking, which is having to apply the same exact problem solving skills, the same framework, and applying it to different areas and different scenarios, right? It's not just solving one problem now, not just knowing how to use AI for one specific solution, creating PowerPoints or whatever, but it's also how do you actually implement it throughout your entire role, whether you can be a software developer, whether it can be whatever, right? And I would say Next thing will be mastery, right? To gain mastery is where you stand out from everyone else, right? Repetitions, building that understanding your topic. For example, if you're a software developer, you have to understand the code inside and out, and you have to understand how to use AI properly, how do you actually integrate it the right way to give you the best results, the fastest and the most accurate. That is how you actually gain true mastery, and that is how you don't stay mediocre, to stand out and to also survive this AI era, right? So I would say there's a lot of AI talk right now, but the main reason of why there are so many of these changes and why is everyone talking about AI, it's mainly because it's one thing that is disrupting a lot of industries, right? Okay, hello, can you guys hear me? Is my audio fine? If everyone is my audio fine, then give me a thumbs up. Okay, cool. All right. I guess I'll continue. Maybe Juliana, you can probably try tweaking the volume. Yeah. So back to the topic. So why are these changes? So AI is basically having like a bunch of industry transformation, right? So AI is right now reshaping sectors, creating unprecedented opportunities, only for those with the right skills, right? As you can see, based on my previous topic that I covered, it's the employers right now are looking for people with AI. So they are mainly, not only, but they are putting high priority to those that actually have AI skills in their back pocket as well, right? Career acceleration. So professionals that equipped with AI capabilities and domain, so combine them both, we have to have both, are actually the ones positioned at the forefront of innovation and growth. That means that if you're currently in whatever role you're in, whether it can be software developer, whether it can be marketing, whether it can be like front desk or anything, if you have mastered your skill in that specific role and you have AI, you are the one that will not be replaced, but instead you would be the one that have like career acceleration. So companies or your employers will actually prioritize you because you are able to produce like results way more faster. Maybe as a software developer, to create an application might take years. Now you can do it in like days or months or even hours, you know, with a couple of like executions and also automations, right? And AI is also a universal application, right? It goes beyond just like software development. It goes beyond like product design, operations, entrepreneur. You can pretty much apply AI anywhere, which is why it's such a high demand in the current expectation and why it is required right now to actually have that skill set, whether you're looking to become employed or whether if you're doing whatever. Because if you think about it, if you can do something way more faster, why wouldn't you, right? So just to share with you like some of the research, not done by us, but we've actually taken and done research from collected researches done by other people's surveys. So if you guys are unfamiliar with the tech space, so Stack Overflow is basically a forum where it's an OG forum where all the software developers would hang out, ask their questions. That was days before AI was there. How developers actually get better was used to ask like people, their seniors and people that have experience, much more experience in that field. So Stack Overflow is actually like a forum where people post their questions and of course, other people with experience or knows the answer would be able to help them. And those would be, the answers will also be vetted, upvoted and stuff. Something similar to Reddit, but mainly for software developer, right? So they've actually done surveys asking developers. So they've actually asked professional developers like what are some of the questions, and I'll share with you, like you can see on screen what are their replies, right? So one of the questions that they asked all professional working developers, right, and non-work professional like freelancers and students and stuff, but all software developers, they asked them, do you currently use AI tool in your development process? And this was actually done in last year, 2025, right? And even last year in itself, you can see that a lot of the software developers are actually using AI tools, although some are not, but you can see the ones that are actually using it is majority of it. And this is why employers are actually looking for software developers that only, not just only know how to write code, but also know how to leverage AI to help them code faster or be more efficient, basically, right? the next question was that, to what extent do you agree with following statements regarding the impact of AI agents? I think everyone knows that AI agent has been like having a lot of like great updates and improvements. So with this question, having it from last year in itself, you can see AI agents have reduced time spent on specific tasks. Blue and red shows like agreeing. So you can see majority of the questions that they ask shows heavily agreement on AI agents having a good impact, right? Having the increase in productivity, having quality of code back in 2025, not so much, but still close, right? AI agents improve collaboration with team. That is the one that doesn't improve the most, right? Because collaboration with team is still human and human. AI won't be able to help you if you're a bad communicator. But anything else to automate tasks, to make it more learning new technologies, like spending time in development, that has been significantly improved. And this is what helps software developers stand out when you have like AI skills. So the next question is, in the future, if AI does most of the coding, which I think everyone has that question in the back of their mind, right? AI can do coding, so why do I need to learn coding, right? So they ask software developers themselves, if AI can do most of the coding tasks, in which situation would you still want to ask another person for help? And you can see all based on the answers is either when they don't trust AI, when they have ethical and security issues, and when they want to truly understand a certain topic. This is where you don't want to fall into like AI hallucination. Right? I believe everyone here has used AI before. Has anyone not giving you an answer that you can understand? If everyone has faced the same issues, give me a thumbs up. No? Is it just me? Am I the only one using AI? Okay, thank you, Darren. Thank you, Daniel, Yusuf. Okay, all right, so I'm not alone. Okay, Resh. Okay, yeah. So the question was like, have you faced like AI hallucination, where you've asked AI questions multiple times, but it's not giving you the same, or not giving you an answer that you can understand, right? So this is a common thing, and this is what like people would actually, of course, right? Yeah. So this is a common thing where if you want to understand, which also software developers themselves actually favors, if they really want to understand in and out, not just on surface level, they will actually prefer to go to a human, right? Or when they're stuck and they can't explain what it is. So here in this illustration, so I use AI to generate this image, but in this illustration to explain, so this is what I wanted to say is, so you can see the highlights, those are actually the same knife. So it's a knife, but placed, as you can see, from 3 different hands. So the one on the far left is actually a baby holding a knife. So you can think of if you pass or you hand over a knife to a baby, right? What it will be, the knife will be very dangerous, right? The baby could like cut themselves, or they can actually accidentally hurt someone, right? But in the middle one, if you hand over a knife to a chef, they would actually use it as the knife is actually a very essential tool for them, especially for their craft, right? To cook, to cut, to prepare ingredients and do stuff, and to actually become what it takes to become a chef, right? But on the right side, if you hand the same knife to a trained soldier, that could actually be a weapon, right? That could be used as a weapon to either protect or to actually hurt people, right? So I would say AI right now is also the same thing. It's a tool, although it's like slowly, like progressively, not slowly, but very fast, progressively like advancing and then slowly becoming much more powerful. But ultimately, it's still a tool, right? AI can sit there, but if you don't ask AI to do whatever, it will still not execute any task whatsoever. So if you're someone that doesn't use AI, to you AI is nothing, right? So AI ultimately is a tool. But if you hand it to like a super genius like Einstein, imagine if Einstein had AI, the amount of things that he would do, or the things that he can actually do, would be so much quicker, and maybe he will invent more stuff, right? So that I would say is something like AI. This knife represents AI. It's a tool, and basically having that domain knowledge helps you become a better user of AI, right? This is why domain knowledge is always comes first. Give me one quick second. I think we have a question. Let me open up the chat. Okay, Yusuf said, one time we shifted to problem solving another problem and I did not notice. It was a wow. Yeah. Solving another problem I did not notice. Yeah. So that's, I would say this is why having domain knowledge helps you also execute AI much more efficiently, right? So here's a study on, this is more towards like the work environment now. So the study done by LinkedIn, right, is the work change report in 2025, so last year. So they actually found out that they already know, they had the studies and the numbers, that these are the roles that actually was generated, new roles that has never existed in the year 2000. So for example, the ones that you're familiar right now, they are very common: full stack engineer, data analyst, front-end developer, web developer, data engineers. But these roles actually never existed until the internet became, or web development or engineering software became much more popular and much more in high demand, right? And these are the exact same, this wave of new roles is actually coming, but this time it's not the internet, right? This time it's going to be in AI, right? And we actually can see it happening right now. So the same study also shows that because of this new change, AI, so it actually has more than 300% increase in the past 8 years. And you can see, right, the past couple of months has been one of the biggest growth AI has actually had, right? So to be even clear, to be clear, oh, I can't read. To be clear, even though it's not a recent trend, we're still seeing early phases in AI and the impact on workforce, right? So there's a delay in terms of the progression of AI and how the workforce actually adapts to that, right? But it's still adapting currently. So professionals who lean into the technology are now most likely to succeed. So even LinkedIn also sees that current trend for the ones that actually know how to leverage AI, right? So let's go here. So in the same report, so this is a different report. This is going to be a skill-based hiring report in last year, 2025, right? So this is actually a skill-based report where like based on countries, when they hire based on skill, it's not just degree or not just paper resumes or whatever you have write on the paper, but actually the skill that you have and provide. Because having a certificate is going to be different from actually knowing what to do, right? So this is a study that if when countries actually hire based on skill, this is the improvement based on not just the retention, but also the productivity and also the results that they're giving. So these are actually, you can see here, over here in Malaysia is actually in the study, is actually based on skill-based hiring. Malaysia would actually 4.2x times more workers that are actually getting hired based on their skills after going through like interviews and actually like retaining their job position, right? So it's all about skill-based and not just like credentials, I would say. So in labor market report done by LinkedIn as well, it shows that data annotators have driven a lot of the job creation, especially with AI, right? Because AI uses a bunch of data, and because of the increase in usage of AI, there's so much more roles actually created because of that, right? As you can see here, exponential growth since 2023, which is 3 years ago, right? For deployed engineers, 42 times of growth they've seen, and AI engineers actually had 13 times of growth, right? Same report, as you can see, data centers created 600,000 new jobs, and in Malaysia in itself, Malaysia is actually becoming one of the largest data centers hub, right? Building in Johor, building all around Malaysia. So as you can see, the few roles over here that have increased, these are the percentage that's increased in the past 12 months. So this is done in 2026, I believe in, I think, March or February, this paper was actually published. So the past 12 months, they've actually seen this percentage of increase. Network engineers, software engineers, 3%. So they are high in demand because of how AI is advancing. They need more developers to actually build and actually improve it, right? So foundation model companies are adding headcount aggressively and 92% year on year, right? Heavily concentrated on AI engineering talents. So as you can see, previously, back in 2000, so many new roles have been created that I've never seen before. And right now, we're seeing the same thing. So it's a market shift, towards like a different direction, which right now is AI. So they are increasing different roles, and I would say like not just tech roles, right? So right now we're covering specifically on tech, but right now you can see like I think Anthropic is also saying we have a one person marketing team that uses AI. So they only need to hire one guy that's good at marketing and knows how to use AI, and that person runs the whole marketing team. So that is their claim, right? So AI is not just like creating new roles, but it's also actually creating, not just in tech, but there are so many new AI specific roles in other industries as well. So you can see big tech, AI hardware, AI tech platforms, there's a huge increase in new roles that are actually in demand, right? Same report, companies are increasing prioritizing AI literacy, adapting human-centric skills to develop their workforce. So the first thing that companies are actually looking for is AI literacy. So it's now domain knowledge, AI literacy, whether do you know how to use AI, conflict mitigation, which is part of the critical thinking, adaptability, process optimization, innovative thinking. And you can see AI literacy, the most important and the most common job titles is software engineer, right? So this is no longer where you can just, okay, I know how to write code, but then if you're asked, like, do you know how to use AI to make you write create a function much more quicker or create a new feature, right? Now, those are the people that actually be landing the job, right? So that's why we also in Sigmaschool, not just talk about it, not just learn about it, but we also teach about AI to our students, because we understand for them to see results, they would actually need to with these skills that the market is actually looking for, right? So right now, to actually become and to actually land jobs as a software developer right now, you would actually need not just coding, but also AI, which is what I'll share with you like the roadmap on how we actually do it. So there's going to be 4 simple steps that we take our students from day one since they join us all the way to actually landing their job and so on, right? So first step is going to be learn and practice. So we do it in our bootcamp regularly, which is learning by doing, right? So I believe, has anyone in here, I believe everyone, have you guys tried to use AI, learn how to use AI, and watch a bunch of tutorials on what AI is and learn how to use like Cloud Code or something? Okay, Harisha says Yusuf, thumbs up. Yep, Hamza also. So that's a common thing, right? You guys will watch videos, watch a bunch of tutorials, like learn about it, right? You do a real project. Yes, that's exactly what we need, right? So it's not just watching a bunch of videos. So what Rish said is totally correct, right? It's not just watching a bunch of videos and then, okay, I've watched a video about AI. I'm an AI master. That's not how it works, right? So it's not just watching videos and not just learning about it, but it's actually when you're building stuff. So it's actually building projects with the thing that you've just learned. So this is how you actually gain through mastery, through repetitions, through your experience of actually getting your hands dirty, learning, typing in, creating the project that you're watching the YouTube on, right? So it's actually having hands-on project and also challenging yourself with difficult tasks on whether do you actually truly understand the topic at hand. So this is what we continuously do, right? Now, the next step is actually through building and through learning, right? Continuously learning, you build through like solving and completing assessments and building your portfolio. So because you've actually started building projects, so this is where you can actually collect them and actually build your portfolio, so that when you actually want to showcase your skill sets, or you want to actually prove, not just gain confidence for yourself, but when you actually apply for jobs, this portfolio will actually show like your entire journey through learning, right? People can actually see you doing things rather than you telling them, I've done this. Instead of saying, I've done this, you can actually just, here, my portfolio. This is prove it to them, right? So this is what actually showcases your actual skill sets, because everyone can say that they are a brilliant software developer until they actually sit in front of a laptop and actually have to build, right? So Yusuf has a question. So Yusuf asks, are handmade projects that are not online, maybe just GitHub, be enough in an interview. So even projects that you publish it into GitHub, that in itself is a portfolio. Of course, you have to make your projects public so that employers can actually go in and see the project in your code base. But also you don't have to show them your code base, but at least have a portfolio of applications that you built. Of course, applications that you deployed so they can actually play around with it and they can actually see, okay, this app actually functions, right? You wouldn't want to say, I built like, for example, I built a to-do app that when you actually use the app, it doesn't do any to-do list whatsoever. So it actually has to function, right? But GitHub is one of the best ways to actually showcase your skills because employers can actually go not just see your app, but they can look through, okay, how are you writing your code? Do you have the correct architecture and stuff like that, right? Do interviews check your code cleanliness too? Yes, they actually do. So if you are one of the higher candidates, especially if you have the, like I mentioned, domain knowledge, you are able to present your skill sets, you have like AI literacy, you know how to use AI, they will definitely, especially when you're vetted, they will actually, these are the things that they look for, right? So this is actually building assessment, portfolio building, right? That's step 2. Now, step 3 is actually building your personal resume, practicing for interviews, and continuous job application. This is where a lot of people underestimate. So of course, when you're applying for jobs, and after, let's say, after a student finishes our bootcamp, right? One of the things that they would actually come in with us, which is actually to practice for interviews, because interviews are what employees will actually see and how they dictate on whether do you have the right skills. Can you work with teams, right? Can you illustrate and can you explain the project that you've just done, right? So they want to know whether you just vibe code this to create a project that works, but you don't understand, or are you someone that actually understands and can explain what the code does, right? So this is where practice for interviews are very crucial. And of course, you have to apply for jobs continuously, right? You're not going to apply for 10 in your lifetime and think, I'm going to get all 10 job offers. Unless you're a super genius, then go ahead. But I would say we do want to practice continuous job applications and always updating your always updating your resume as well, right? This is crucial because this is what gets you noticed. Now, the last step, right? Now, of course, the last step is landing your dream job, right? But that step doesn't end there because it will always go back to even after landing your dream job or landing your job, right? With the advancement of technology, you always still need to go back to step 1. There's always going to be learning and practice. So this is where you're not going to stay like a junior developer for life, right? Eventually, you will actually progress to become a senior, progress to become a lead, progress to become a principal, right? So this is where you always, even after landing a job in tech, you'll always still need to learn and practice and keep up with the latest information, the latest technology, right? For example, like if you know how to use AI, maybe or ChatGPT 3, right? Right now it's ChatGPT 5.5 or I don't know what's the latest one, but let's say 5.5. It's so much more better than the older ones, right? So if you don't continuously learn, you don't continue to keep yourself updated, especially as a software developer, this is where landing your job once is not going to be enough, right? Because the ones, like I mentioned, the ones that actually stay up to date, continuously learning, gain mastery are the ones that will have career acceleration, right? So far, does it make sense? If it makes sense, give me a thumbs up. So 4 simple steps, right? Learn, practice, assessment building and portfolio building, career preparation, landing a job, and then going back to, of course, step 1, right? Okay, so Yusuf has a question. So what do you mean know how to use AI? Is it just knowing how to prompt and finding the right code solution? No, so it depends on the use case as well. So of course, like if you're just vibe coding or you're asking to generate something, knowing what to ask is going to be very crucial. For example, if you want to dissect your symptoms as a doctor, you need to know what you want to ask, right? Or else you're just going to ask random things that the AI is just going to think that is what you're going to ask, right? Compared to someone that wants to create an application and a software developer can actually ask the AI to structure and architect the software or the application that they want to build in a specific way with this specific format, and they know the reason why, and yeah, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so that is what actually using AI properly means, right? Having the correct rules, having the correct placeholders, having the correct structure, right? So everyone can use AI, but whether you're using it as Google, then you're not using AI to its full potential, right? So basically, I'm going to share with you like some of the details on like in our bootcamp, what we actually cover, because now you know the overview of the structure. So Farisha says, are the bootcamps or free workshops enough to provide the skill to add to a personal resume? So I would say the free workshops that we currently run is not going to be enough to add into your resume to land you a job, but the bootcamp is actually structured to actually get you job ready. So what we call is the software engineering bootcamp, and I'll share. So in this section, I'll share with you in detail why it actually gives you the skills that will actually help you get job ready, right? So we break it up into a couple of modules. So right now you will be seeing when you come into the bootcamp, and when a student signs up, you'll be getting prep work. So this is before the live lessons start. So we have online lessons where an instructor guides the student in each batch to basically understand, ask questions, and actually have like a guide when you're doing your hands-on projects. So to make sure that you're not straying to the wrong direction and then get lost and confused, right? So even before then, we really have a prep work to get people warmed up. So which is what we call the 6 projects in 6 days, right? This introduces the basics of like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, basic web stuff, just to get you warmed up. Then it will be learning the fundamentals. Now, this is very key because when we get students into learning the basics, right? Or when you want to learn something advanced, if you don't understand the fundamentals, it's very hard to understand or actually build something meaningful if your base is like weak. So for example, if you want to build like a tall building, right? If your foundation at the bottom is very weak, like maybe a strong wind can probably like blow your building down, for example, right? I don't know if it's a good example, but hope that makes sense, right? So the next module is after you have a strong foundation, after a student understands what coding is, what are the architecture, why coding needs to be like this, how the computer understands it, how do you actually use code or write simple code. This is where you jump into the advanced modules, which is front end and back end. Now, this is where you would actually look in what our students do is they look at like what enterprise companies are actually doing with their software, with their enterprise SaaS, right? So looking like Instagram, looking at Netflix, looking at like Spotify, what are they actually doing? Reverse engineer, understand the architecture, understand the reasons why they're building it this way, what are the pros and cons of different enterprises structure, and then knowing which one to choose at which scenario. Now, the back end is, of course, the one that a lot of people actually want to know, especially when you're vibe coding. Back end is where you actually understand the cybersecurity, right? The proper cybersecurity, authentication, authorization, servers, database, how do you everything that you see in your application or play on your phone, right? Everything that happens magically at the back, that is what backend is, right? This is what we'll actually walk students through. This is why if you have a strong foundation, learning these will be much more easier. If you have a weak foundation, when you add in complex things, you're just going to crack, right? So this is how we actually, what we call skill stack. So the next will be module 4, right? Learning full stack. So this is where you combine and actually connect the dots. Because once you have a strong foundation, you have front end, you have back end, students will be able to connect the dot in this module. And then, of course, this is where we all introduce AI. This is once you understand the architecture, once you understand everything, you know how to connect the dots. How do you actually get AI to actually connect the dots for you much more quicker? Build it for you. Create a wireframe that you can actually build on and make your own tweaks, or help you actually like expedite, create automations, everything like that. This is where AI comes in, right? Now, after this is where once a student learns everything they need, they have all the skill sets, right? They know how to build a software from scratch. They know how to use AI, so they can actually build it by themselves, a one-man software team, right? This is where they are job ready. This is when when you complete at this task, you're job ready. And this is where the career services comes in. So this is where you have mock interviews, weekly meets to make sure that you are actually applying for the correct jobs and showing up as your best self, and also making sure that your portfolio is properly structured, your resume, your profile, everything is so that you can actually get that job and interview, right? Passing the interview and landing that job, right? Post-graduation module and additional learnings. Of course, like I mentioned, back to step one in the roadmap is you always have to keep track and continuously learn. This is where our post-graduation modules will help dive deeper into like specific topics, for example, like cybersecurity, or like front end more towards like advanced, especially when you want to lead like a team, or you're looking to become a senior developer. These additional layers will come where you actually need to learn them, right? So that is it. Okay, so this bootcamp, I think all you guys might be wondering, like, who's this bootcamp for, and how are we able to do it, right? Is this for me? So if you're one of these, like, this is structured for you. So beginners that have no technical experience, if you're a career changer that wants to change maybe from construction, medicine, or anything, right? If you're a non-technical professional that wants to enhance your understanding, not just on software, but also on AI, how LLMs work and all, which will be covered, right? If you're a recent graduate, not sure whether you're actually, you have a practical path that you can actually go into the workforce, right? If you want to be a freelancer, or even if you want to start your own software or company, right? I would say this bootcamp is for you. Right. So some of the career outcomes that you might be wondering in this after graduating from this bootcamp will be mainly AI enhanced developer. So like I mentioned, software is now changed, right? Employers are actually looking for people that not just know how to code, but actually know how to use AI to help them code faster, build applications that leverage LLMs to create intelligent user experience. So as you can see now, all the softwares out there are integrating AI because of how useful it is, right? It makes the user experience much more quicker and get things solved faster. So Yusuf has a question, is .NET and their programming language C#, F# still relevant and has a future? So this is where the fundamentals comes in, right? And also understanding architecture. So languages, especially in coding, each language has its pro and con, right? So this is where you have to first understand what you want to build, what is your software trying to solve, and then building. So once you're a software developer, you then know how to pick and choose. But I would say don't emphasize on learning languages, but understanding first, because languages, I would say you first have to understand like the principles. So like, for example, JavaScript, Python, C#, once you understand object-oriented, it's transferable, and all you need to do is just learn the syntax, right? So it's just syntax in languages. So I would say it also has its pros and cons, but this is where once you learn the fundamentals, very important, you'll be able to know like what are the differences and which one to choose when you want to build an application, for example, right? OOP is object-oriented programming. So that is the architecture and the I would say the structure of how you would create code and then write code, basically. Yeah, this, maybe I should have introduced that, but in fundamentals, this is what you'll be learning. Yeah. So another one of the next career outcomes, right, will be product managers and AI project managers, right? So for example, if you're a manager, you know how to like manage teams, but of course, this is where you need to enhance your skills with AI. Right, you can't stay a manager and not know how to use AI to leverage your team's performance, right? So this is where you combine coding, AI skills, and bridging the gap between engineering and also the business needs, right? So managing cross-functional teams and how you automate stuff and make things seamlessly, this is where you can actually have that career outcome. So tech entrepreneurs as well. So we actually have quite a few like tech startup founders that start their own startup and actually come to our bootcamp because they understand ultimately you need the fundamentals if you're going to start a software company, right? So if you're looking to become a tech entrepreneur, an AI product builder, so AI application builders that you put on the App Store or anything, so this is one of the career outcomes you can actually achieve after the bootcamp, right? Bring your product to vision, and of course, with your ideas and whether you want to develop side projects, AI skills, and your technical skills, this will actually help you make it happen. And the next thing will also be like AI enhanced business professionals, right? Integrated specialists. So this is where you perform and help different industries and different sectors to perform with a more efficient, being not just bridging understanding tech, but also, example, if you're in marketing, if you're in sales, if you're in data analytics, if you're in like medicine or the medical field, right? This will help you understand AI more and become more systematic and become more efficient, right? So don't just hear it from me like, wow, this sounds amazing and all, like you have so many students, but these are what students have to say. And these are proof that you can actually start from any background and you don't need to actually become like a tech, like you don't have to have tech background to actually become someone in tech right now, right? So you can see from our previous students, right? Ex-medical doctor, now working in X-ray, ex-student that actually come in, even studying software, also wanted to have practical skills, now working in Grab, technical operation consultants, right? Also, we have coaches, we have mechanical engineers, project engineers, electrical engineers. We even have construction workers and so many different roles, right? Music teachers and so on. All coming in with the same goal to break into tech and then landing a job in tech, right? So these are some of the final projects that you actually be building by yourself. Now, of course, much more streamlined and integrating AI as well, making it much more smarter. And of course, UI will be improved so much significantly, especially when you're using AI, right? So here are some of the questions that you guys might have. So let me go through them, some FAQs. And then maybe you guys can ask me some questions later if it's not answered, right? So some of you might be wondering, do I need prior coding experience to succeed in this bootcamp? So answer is no. Like as you can see from the previous slide and also the current one, most of our graduates actually started from scratch. No background, and they actually, it's not where you start, but it's whether you're able to stick with the roadmap that I showed, right? Actually able to not just learn, watch tutorial, and then I'm out. Actually building and sticking with it and actually understanding, right? Building the core fundamentals, right? Building, we actually built this entire bootcamp mainly targeted to help people, non-tech people, to also be able to understand the jargons, to be able to understand the concept that want to be job ready fast, because it's only going to be for the span of 3 months, right? So how do I know if I actually can get a job after, right? So this is what we have, right? We are confident in the skill sets that we actually will be able to provide, and we actually stand by this, right? So if you graduate and you don't get a job, you will get a refund. This is what we call the money back guarantee, which we offer, right? It's optional. So this is what we actually would stand for and provide you the confidence if you don't have in yourself, right? And this is what we make a promise by, because of the results that we're getting our students, right? The reviews, you can see from the reviews, the students that are currently working in tech and the hiring partners that actually trust us and hire our talents as well, right? So now some of you might be asking, right, isn't AI going to replace developers? They know how to code, so why should I learn how to code, right? So I think in this, I've been mentioning, like repeating quite a bit. So AI is replacing average developers, and the ones who don't know how to leverage it, those are the ones that can actually, wait, what did I write? Oh, AI is replacing average developers, right? The ones that don't know how to leverage it, right? But the ones that actually know how to leverage it, the ones not just have AI knowledge, but also, of course, you have to have domain knowledge first. Those are the ones that would actually be promoted and companies will actually fight for. I believe some of you guys have probably heard like, wow, like Meta or ChatGPT, Anthropic is like paying, especially AI engineers, like crazy amount of bonuses, like a couple of millions a year or something like that. So as you can see, the ones that know how to leverage it, that's the skill set that you actually need to look forward to, right? That is what you're actually learning in the bootcamp. Not just the fundamentals, not just coding, but also AI, right? Okay. So I think that's someone that's questions. So Yusuf says, how do I know if the role is going to be changed or replaced by AI? So I would say not all roles are going to be replaced. So this is where you have to see if tasks that can be easily be automated. Now, of course, the roles will be diminished. So in this case, for example, if it used to take 10 people to run a single operation or like keying in data, which AI can do it much more quicker. This is where instead of like hiring 10 people to key in the same data entries, right? This is where if you have one person that knows how to use AI, that person can run everything maybe faster than if you hire 10 people that key in manually, for example, right? But so this is where the domain and AI literacy comes in, right? So next question is, what if I fail and I'm not smart enough, right? So of course, everyone always feel left behind, and we hear this a lot, to be honest, because I'm part of the admissions team. I take a bunch of calls with students that want to know more about it. This is a common thing, and I would say students that come in, you don't have to be smart to code, right? You just need a structure. You just need to know what you need, what to do afterwards, and you of course need to stick by it and be accountable to yourself, right? Actually see it through and actually do the work, and not just come in and then just don't learn. So you actually have to learn, right? This is exactly why we built the bootcamp and why we actually started Sigmaschool in the first place, right? The main thing is you're not doing this alone, right? Because you have like industry leaders, instructors, peers, and even AI co-pilots. AI co-pilots that we internally built and trained by ourselves to actually help guide you along the way. So it's not giving away your thought process or giving away your thinking to AI, but this is where you actually learn how to think for yourself, and AI is to help you think better, right? So it's not just giving your thought process to AI. Does that make sense? Thumbs up if it makes sense. Aslan, thank you, thank you. Zara, Yusuf, Chin, thank you. So one of the things we've seen a lot of students that come and go, and even students that don't join us, or people that are, especially the ones trying to learn by themselves, is information alone doesn't create change. I think that's a common thing that I've been saying today as well. Also the thing that I believe a lot, right? If you're learning and you have that information in front of you, that in itself doesn't change, right? It's good to watch and good to know what's out there, but to actually do and build stuff, that actually creates the change, right? Or else you're watching, compare someone that watches like 10 hours of YouTube videos on AI compared to someone that watches 1 hour of video and implements immediately. That person will have much more understanding of AI because he's actually done it. He actually tested around and played through his own experience, and he knows exactly what he needs to do. Because I can promise you, I think everyone has gone through this, watching a bunch of videos, and not implementing it, the information doesn't retain, right? So information alone is always out there, but doing it is what creates the change, right? So for those that actually, everything that I mentioned, if this is something, especially for people that want to break into tech, they want to be an AI engineer, they want to be an AI software engineer, or even when you want to understand the core fundamentals of software, right? Our batch actually already started. So it's May 4th. We are closing enrollments this Friday. The reason because once we go in depth into the fundamentals, we won't be taking any more enrollments, because once we go in depth, this is where you will actually be coming into the lessons on Monday to Friday basis. So this is why last enrollments is going to be this Friday, right? May 4th, this is where the pre-course actually starts and introducing to what are the tools you need to download and stuff. So besides the immersive cohort, so if for those that actually want to see if they're eligible, because we only are able to take in 5 students right now and no more, right? So immersive cohort is actually started. So for those that are interested, you can scan the QR or go to the link over here, Sigmaschool sign up. that is where you will actually either speak to myself or also a team member more in depth. First, we want to understand who you are, what you do, why are you actually getting in, and we want to make sure that if this is something that will actually help you, right? If it is, then we'll actually be able to onboard you as a student, right? So if you're interested, scan the QR, fill in the form, book appointment with us. Now, the next thing is for those that are like, okay, I want to explore, like, I want to know more about you guys. What you guys can do is you can RSVP for our free workshops. So for those that have never tasted what coding is, this will actually give you a glimpse of what coding is like. So this is where our workshops happen every Wednesday as well. Besides this info session, this is where you can actually get it. So sigmaschool.co/events. I will actually go ahead and give you guys the link, right? So I will be sending in a list of links and you guys can go ahead and navigate through them. Don't worry, I will also be sending it to you guys after this event, right? So what we have also is the free coding starter pack, especially for the ones that want to be an AI software engineer. This is the same roadmap that we actually take our students, and in there we have like small modules that you guys can actually consume and start your own journey, right? So if you guys are interested, sigmaschool.co/coding-starter-. So for those that want to know what is like a bootcamp community or like a software development community, like are they like talking about code? Do they talk in ones and zeros? So if you guys are interested, you guys can go join our Discord. It's free for everyone to join in. You will be able to see our students engaging in there and also answering questions. So feel free to ask your questions in there as well. If you have any tech questions or anything like that, or new information, updates on AI will also be shared in that Discord. So on the left QR, that is our Discord. On the right will be the ones that actually want to join and see if the bootcamp is for them, right? Mentioned, we will be closing enrollments in this Friday, so the next 2 days, and we will only take in 5 more students maximum, because each cohort, we want to make sure every student gets their individual attention, right? So let me go ahead and read the chat while you guys can see the screen. I'm going to pin the links that I've shared. So you guys can either do 2 things. You can scan the QR, or you can go ahead and navigate to the links above, right? So, okay, so let me, there's a few questions. Okay, so Chen Chua says, I am an industry software engineer, PLC. If I join the bootcamp, will I benefit in the field? Right? And also another field, I can switch if I have more knowledge on using AI to code. I would say yes, right? So PLC is also logic-based programming, right? So in this case, PLCs, it depends on whether you would actually want to go into a different field, then it will also be giving you more options later on. But even as a software engineering in the industry of PLCs in itself, having the core fundamentals of how the coding works, and of course, PLCs are like factory-based, still logic-based. So having an understanding of AI will also help you be able to like consolidate and increase the production of that I would say like factory or whatever your PLC is actually running, right? So I would say yes, AI is going to help you, and of course this immersive bootcamp will help you extend not just on PLC and manufacturing division, but also more like web, if you want to connect it to like your machines, if they use like SecGems, or if they need to connect to a server and so on, you would have that fundamental and also knowledge on how you connect them in the bootcamp. Yeah. So Rev says, I'm a university student though, can I still join the bootcamp? Now, this is going to be tricky. So this will usually we'll cover this in like the one-to-one admissions call. Mainly, we will first look at your schedule. Are you able to commit full-time as a bootcamp member? Of course, case-by-case basis, we will go, depending on how much and how committed we feel that you can actually continue and go through the lessons. We have university students that join in, even graduates from like actually this batch, we have like APU students from software engineering that wants to gain more practical experience because they are struggling to find jobs right now. So students have actually joined in for the exact reasons as well. So if you're a university student, actually even better, university students. So we actually have a merit-based promotion as well for university students. So if you're still a current student, you actually get additional bonus as well. So Farisha asked, are the classes physical or do you provide virtual lessons as well for those who live outside? So good news is all our lessons from Monday to Friday in the bootcamp for 3 months, it's going to be all virtual, right? Now, for those, because our current office right now, we are located in IOI Boulevard, Puchong, Selangor. For those that are around the area, of course, feel free to come over to our office and also use the office workspace, what we call is a study hub. So it'll be free access for bootcamp members. But for those that are, for example, because we have students from Penang, Johor, even like overseas, like Italy, France, and also the UK. So students that are overseas or far away, they cannot come to our HQ. Everything will be online, whether it can be the daily lessons, it's going to be online, the support sessions going to be online, your lab sessions also will be online. If you need any help, the team is always contactable online. Everything will be online, right? So Chen Chua says, thank you. Aslan asks, where or who can I reach out to ask questions about the bootcamp course before I decide? Okay, what you can do is you can either, if you are interested to join, you can scan that QR, or you can actually go to our website. So our website is Sigmaschool /co. So I'm just going to type it in here. So you can go over here, and then there will be a WhatsApp widget. You can click it and then you can message. My team member will be able to help you, assist you, whether if you want. So in our website, if you're interested, you can also check out our brochure. You can download our brochure and so on. So I'm going to share the link to download the brochure as well. So this one would show you whatever I shared today. It will show you exactly on the details on like how the classes will be like, structure, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So Aslan, if you're interested, you can just WhatsApp us, go to our website, click the WhatsApp widget, start a conversation. My team member will answer all of your questions, right? So of course, the WhatsApp widget will actually be a AI agent that will, our AI assistant that will be answering your questions. But if you want to speak to a human, Aslan, when you speak to our WhatsApp, you can actually just ask the AI, transfer me to a human, and then our team member will take over. And then we'll introduce ourselves, or I can take over and I'll answer your questions through the WhatsApp as well. Yeah. So Resh says, I'm planning to join during my intern. It starts on September 2026. When you say join during your intern, now this is going to be tricky because in the bootcamp, we want students that can commit a full-time. So this is where you would actually have to put in, because remember, it's only going to be for 3 months. So what we do is the goal is to graduate a student within 3 months. Of course, we are flexible in the case if you need a longer time, you have a 1-year period that you can join different batches. But I would say if you're able to come into bootcamp and complete it within 3 months, that would be the ideal goal. And we want to make sure that a student can at least commit to a full 3 months, right? In the case, of course, case by case basis, if this is something that we feel that you're really committed, whether you can join in 2 weeks and then watch the recordings after. Now, this will really depend on you and whether our team decides that if you're a good fit. Right? So if you're doing an internship and trying to join the bootcamp, I would highly not recommend that, because your attention will be split and it won't be as effective, right? You might think, unless if this is you're okay with this, you would potentially extend your graduation, right? Right. Farisha says, thank you. All right. Aslan noted. Okay, cool. Yeah. Because I would say don't underestimate the bootcamp, although it is structured, but because you are going to be learning new things on a daily basis. Because 3 months, you're trying to like learn everything. So on a daily basis, it is structured, and we actually would tell students, and we actually would actually prepare students that you would actually have to be a full-time, because the time to spend, the average time that we see students spending and graduating is around 40 hours a week. So 8 hours a day, because 5 days, Monday to Friday. So 8 hours a day for 40 hours a week. That is pretty much like a full-time job and a full-time student. So basically that is time, and you actually need to put in the time, not just learning, but remember, it's not just learning. So you need to put some time to building, right? So that also comes into account when you are trying to complete everything in 3 months. Right. Raisha, another question you mentioned, classes run Monday to Friday. Could you kindly share the time per day? Right. Okay. So the time structure, it's going to be like this. So Monday to Friday basis, how it works is 9:30 a.m. all the way to 12:30 p.m. That is going to be the online sessions. So this is where the instructor will walk you guys to, like, okay, this is what we're learning, why you need to learn this, how you need to do this, and then we'll provide you with like projects. The instructor will say, okay, now you've learned this concept, now let's build a project with this new concept. And then you guys will build it hands-on in the live session. And then this is where you can ask questions if you're stuck, or if you need guidance, the instructor will be there to guide you and give you your individual attention, right? So 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. online live lessons with the instructor. Then lunch break, come back 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. That will be our Discord session where a peer lab. So we will provide students with like daily tasks, projects to build, algorithms to solve, and also quizzes to take. So these are assigned daily and based on the topics they will be learning. So because you have like all these assignments, the lab is meant for students to join the Discord and discuss amongst themselves. So this won't be guided, but this is to actually see how you develop your own problem solving skills. Now, when you actually face like a roadblock, and when you're actually stuck, and when your friends also don't know how to solve it, this is when you want someone, like key figure person, to ask questions. 3 to 4 p.m., this is where our support session comes in. Also will be on Discord, where you can just join the channel, and then an instructor will always be in there. Now, if you need like one-to-one attention, we will then get you another instructor, and then do join a different breakout room or do an individual call, right? This is where if you need to share your specific screen, or if you want like individual help, this will be also done during 3 to 4 p.m. Then from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., this is where you would also do your own self-study, whether you want to coordinate with your friends in the boot camp or what, so on and so forth. That is going to be up to you. If you're able to complete it during the 1:30 to 3 p.m. lab, then of course, then you have nothing else to do. Then what you can do during the 4 to 6 is to study and go through the materials that will be covered tomorrow, so you get a better understanding. Yeah, so I would say 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. is what you'll be looking at on a Monday to Friday basis. Yeah, which is why around 40 hours a week. 8 hours Monday to Friday a day, and 40 hours a week, right? Hope that answers your question. So Chin Kap Min asks, so what if I currently had a job, looking forward to join full-time bootcamp? Is it still recommended or not, or depends on availability? Now, this really comes down to first, what are you looking for? If you're looking to transition, mainly this is what the admissions call is about. We want to understand what are you currently doing, what are your goals, what are you trying to achieve, and whether our bootcamp can actually help you achieve that. So if you say like, I want $1 million after the bootcamp, of course, that's not going to happen, right? But if you tell us that, okay, I want to break into tech, I want to be a AI software engineer, I want to be a AI front-end developer or AI web builder, that is something that we can actually help you in the bootcamp. And this is what the bootcamp is for. Then I would say it's going to be up to you, all on your comfortability, right? Come in, right? If this is something you really want, what our students have actually, some of our students have actually done, it's either, if this is something you're 100% certain, you can either ask for like a leave, 3 months leave from your company, or if you're comfortable, you can also resign. join the bootcamp and then completely transition into a tech role, right? This is something progress that you actually have to decide. Now, if you are looking to this, because the bootcamp is going to be meant for full-time students, if you're looking for a part-time model, what we have is going to be a weekly meet, weekly session for part-time students, where instead of like coming into the bootcamp and like paying a one-time fee, this will be the part-time students will actually join in on a monthly subscription, because we understand like if you have a full-time job and you still want to learn, you can as well. But of course, do understand the bootcamp, you will graduate, look to graduate within 3 months. But the part-time, it really depends on how many hours you're putting in, how fast you're able to keep up, and the help that you're getting on a weekly basis. So usually part-time students will actually look to graduate within, if you're putting in like 14 hours to 20 hours, you look to graduate from our data. Students that come in part-time, they will look to graduate within 6 to 9 months. And if you're okay with that, then you can start with that as well. Yeah. So it's totally up to you whether if you want 3 months fast and transition straight away, or you want to keep your work your current job and then transition after a year or maybe more, depending, right? So Hamza asked, what if one is with no education field? Would one be able to join the bootcamp since one is interested in tech? Yes, so I would say yes. So we have taken a lot of students that have no SPM, no I would say degree in college or any higher education whatsoever, and they have actually successfully transitioned. So this is where in the bootcamp we prioritize skill-based learning, and this is why building projects and having that I would say portfolio is very, very important, because when you approach like employers, when you go for interviews especially, it's not the certification or not your resume that gets you hired, but you landing that job and showing your skill sets is the one that actually get you to that final interview. Because especially for technical roles like software engineering, software development, AI specific, there is going to be a technical interview, because everyone can say, oh yeah, I know how to code, I know how to use AI, I know how to use code. But what employees, because we do our hiring on ourselves as well, when when employees actually ask you, okay, you know how to do this, okay, show me. They'll give you a problem, there's a technical interview, and this is where a lot of people would fumble if they don't have like the practical skills. So I would say practical skills and your final project in the bootcamp, which is also in the portfolio, because interviewers, before they interview you for technical or even they pass the first stage, if you have a portfolio, they will play around with your applications. And if they like what they see that, okay, you build like a robust app, you know what you're talking about, your skills are actually proven, even if you don't have like a fancy degree or whatsoever, you will still be able to get interviews and land a job. Right? That is what we see in our students' results as well. So it's not just something I'm saying, but our students have actually done, and we've seen a lot of success. Right, Farisha, hope that answers your question, Hamza. So Farisha asked, all right, thanks for the clarification. You're welcome. Aslan, so who was the oldest student that joined? Oh, okay. During my time here in Sigmaschool, the oldest student that have joined, that I have personally onboarded, I believe it was 42. Yeah, I believe it was 42. Yeah, and that was 2 batches ago. Yeah, I've personally spoken to and helped a student join the bootcamp. That is also 42 as well. Yeah, so that is the oldest personally. I don't know about like the older ones, but yeah, I'll have to check with my team member. But from what I know, 42 years old, that's the oldest student that I've personally onboarded. So, Chinkamin, I see. Thank you for your answer. I'm actually in the final stage of my AI engineering interview. My goal is joining the bootcamp is to build my resume and skill sets. Oh, congratulations on the AI engineer interview. Goal is to build my resume and skill set, tools, and etc. And that's why I'm asking if I got a job later and might end up the timeline clash with my bootcamp schedule. Oh, okay. So for this case, if because we have students that what we actually recommend students in the bootcamp itself, because you're also building projects along the way. So students, we actually recommend students every project that you build, even if you haven't graduated, post it on your LinkedIn and also start applying for jobs whenever you're free, right? Of course, the main goal is to learn all the skill sets first, but feel free to apply for jobs. We actually have students that actually got jobs when during that time in the bootcamp in itself. So I would say when that time comes and when you actually have to like go and attend that job, of course that takes precedent and that would be the priority, right? Now, I would say when you actually like start your job as an AI engineer, I would say don't it would maybe like you have to spend less time in the bootcamp already, which is totally fine. Now, this is where you actually, if you're okay with that, your graduation will just extend. But because you get 1 year access to join either batch, right, and you'll get all the recordings. So what we always say, if you get a job and you would have to pause the boot camp, always inform us. So we will have to do a special case, and this is where you would have to go through the entire recordings or join the live lessons when you're able to. Make sure that you also still keep up with the learning, because it's not just something that you forget. Like I mentioned, once even when you land a job, it's also going back to step one in the roadmap, which is learning and like continuously building, right? So this is where even if students finish and land their dream job, right, we would still want them to complete the bootcamp, because then when they perform in their job, if they complete the bootcamp, they will be able to perform better in the job. They have a better context and a much more holistic view. Yeah, so it's only a win, I would say. This really depends on the time that you're able to put in as well, right? Hope that answers your question, Kamin. And congrats on the interview as well. Hope everything goes well. Resh, what kind of app that the interviewer impressed of? Anything that is problem solving? So, good question. But I would say it really depends on like the job that you're applying to. So I would say if you're applying to like an F&B, let's say you're applying to Coca-Cola. Of course, if you're able to build an application that they are able to see that they can actually implement, then that would be very useful. Or if you're applying to like a cloud or a cybersecurity company, and you're able to come up with like good security, you understand like cryptography, you understand like all the core architecture, then that'll be good. If you showcase, I would say if you're applying for an AI startup, right, and then you're able to showcase your good fundamental skills and a well-used case of how you implement AI, because there's a requirement in the final project in the bootcamp is AI integration. So if you're able to showcase like, oh, I've integrated AI this way in my app, and it actually aligns with the company that you're applying to, then I would say this is what would be very useful. Yeah. So Resh, or what we actually tell students in the bootcamp is, if you're building your capstone, your final project, that's why we usually have the calls first to make sure that students have a goal that they want to achieve or they understand, and then also what is like the companies that they want to apply to. Then they'll build their final project towards that goal, so it increases their chances. But don't put all your eggs in one basket as well. This is where your application will have to be robust, and as long as your application is good and they showcase your skill sets, your knowledge, not just in software but in AI as well, this is what I would say most employers would be happy to have. Yeah, and what they're looking for. Yep. Okay, Aslan said thanks for answering. Welcome. Hamza says thanks. Come in, thanks. Resh, thanks. Welcome, welcome. Can I ask some payment questions? Yeah, sure. Or is it better for me to contact someone else? Yeah, you can ask payment questions. We are transparent, so like the fees of the bootcamp is also on our website. What kind of payment questions do you want? Aslan, you can either ask me here, or you can also ask it in the WhatsApp. Yeah. So our AI assistant can help you, or you can also check out like our brochure or the website. We have it all like publicly shared. Okay. Do you guys accept payments for KWSP account too, especially for some of us who have been working for some years? So for KWSP, so that we won't, because we don't have direct affiliation. So I don't believe we are able to like take or charge KWSP accounts directly. But if you're able to like take it out and transfer it, then I would say it's doable through the amount in KWSP. But if you're asking if we can directly take it out from KWSP from our end, I don't believe finance is able to do that. Yeah. Yeah. So ours is yeah, I don't think, yeah, finance wouldn't be able to do that. So what payment process usually happens is, like, especially we have students asking if they can take it off the EPF. So K plus B EPF, we aren't able to like take it out directly. You would actually need to like take it out and then maybe transfer it. That's the way we will be able to do it. So if you're able to take it out from your account, then I guess, yeah, then we'll accept bank transfers. Yeah, but charging it directly, we won't be able to do that. Hope that answers your question. Right. Anyone have? Oh, okay. Come in. One more question. As you mentioned just now, we had a different batch on this year. The one you mentioned earlier about your 5 bootcamp only absent 5 months is on this May, right? Yes. So the one I mentioned that because right now this batch actually started on May 4th. So we are going to be closing enrollments this Friday, and we'll only be accepting 5 more because every batch we will only take in 15 students at max so that everyone gets the attention from the instructor. Yes, so that is what is currently happening now. Kaminas, would you like and would like to know how many people your company accept per batch? Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. So in each batch, we'll accept only 15 students. Yep. Okay, Aslan said noted. Thanks. I'll try activating KWSP if this is doable for educational purpose. Yeah, I think the best will be checking with KWSP first. If it's doable, then you can either like speak to my team. But I would say when it's doable, you would still need to schedule your admissions call. That way, either my team or myself can actually speak with you because that is part of the process. You want to make sure that a student that comes in is going to be aligned with our bootcamp. Yeah. Okay, come and says, oh, I see, thanks. Yep, you're welcome. All right, no problem. All right, anybody have any other questions? I think we have the Q&A ran quite over. We're supposed to end it at 8:30. All right, I still see a lot of people in here. Anyone have any other questions? No? Zara, thumbs down. I'm assuming that's no. No? Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right. If you guys don't have any more questions, you guys are free to go. And if you have any more questions, maybe tomorrow or anything, just feel free to like reach out to us on WhatsApp or even our email. Then we'll be happy to reply. So I'm sharing the links again. If you guys don't scan the QR and you just want to click the link. So out of the list, the first link is our Discord community, free to join, right? You can ask the questions there as well. The second one will be for those that want to join our free workshops, just to get a taste of like what coding and how our instructors teach. Then you can RSVP for them. Third link will be the coding starter pack. So inside the coding starter pack, it's not just the roadmap, but we also include the 6 projects in 6 days, which is our pre-course. So this will get a taste of like what introductory is, The fourth one is going to be the immersive bootcamp. So for those that want to join the bootcamp, it's want to know if they are eligible to join. You can click the link, you can fill out the form, and then you have to speak to either myself or my team member. Once we see that you're a good fit and you can actually be a student in the bootcamp, then only we'll be able to accept you, right? And the fifth one, of course, feedback. So everyone that's still here, provide your honest feedback for the info sessions. Is it too long or anything like that? Yeah. Or any like new research that you want us to cover, topics that you want us to cover on AI, anything like that. Yeah. Feel free to share it there. Aslan says, thank you for the info session. Yep. All good. Welcome, welcome. Hafiz also says, thank you for the session. Welcome. Overall is good, understandable. That's good. Thank you. Thank you for the session. Thank you guys for coming. Hope I did a good justice of like explaining everything. Right, yeah. So feel free to like give your like feedback if you want changes, or email, fix your mic, anything. Thank you for the session. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yep. Thank you guys for coming. Ronnie says thanks. Thank you. Thank you for coming, Ronnie. Go says thanks for informative session. You're welcome. Hope this helped. Daniel says thank you as well. Welcome. Thanks for joining, Daniel. All right, Zar. Thanks for joining. Have a good day. All right, thank you, Carmen. Go Ding V. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. If no one has any more questions, we can end the session. All right, Resh, take care. Bye-bye. We can end the session here. Yeah. No more questions. I'll probably end it in the next minute. Any more questions? All right. I hope everyone has a good, informative session. If you guys still have any questions, feel free to reach out. Yep.